Another episode here in week 13, game 12. Um, I'm recording this on Tuesday, December 7th. The game that I'm talking about happened last Thursday on December 1st. So it's been a couple of days, but nonetheless, we're still going to recap the game and talk about everything that happened. The final score was 27-17 Cowboys over Saints in New Orleans. So a win, but as we get into this game and talk about it and go into the details, it was not an impressive win, to say the least. From factors on our side, factors on their side. Just it should have been a more dominant game, I should say, but it wasn't. But again, it was a win, so I can't complain. But just not showing that confidence that you'd like to see, especially after the last couple weeks. Not playing your best. You get a couple guys back for this game, and you still really aren't there. So maybe next week is when you get back. A divisional opponent on the road in a kind of a big game, to be honest. They're only 2 games back, so that could be a big game. So maybe the focus is there for that one. But yeah, again, we're gonna talk this game. Like I said, 27-17 win. It was really 27-10. They got a late touchdown. Literally right at the end of the game with 2 minutes left. So it could have been 27-10. But again, we also had a pick six towards the end right before that. So same thing. But we're going to start at the beginning. I guess let's start before the game. So we get Amari Cooper back. We get CeeDee Lamb back. We get Demarcus Lawrence back as well. Our 2 best wide receivers, and I guess technically our second best pass rusher is Micah, but our key to our defense on the defensive line, Demarcus Lawrence, hasn't been playing since week 1 when he broke his foot at Tampa. So yeah, he hasn't played since then. So, obviously being week 13, he's basically missed 3 months. So he was back for this one. I think he played 37 snaps, so a decent amount, honestly, for missing that much time and it being a foot injury, a broken foot. So he actually played a decent amount, and he was really impactful when he played. It looked like he had a strip sack. They called it incomplete, but it was that close to being a strip sack, and we did recover it, so it would have been our ball. But just missed out on the strip sack. But again, he played really well for his first game being back since week 1, like I was saying. So we're gonna start at the beginning. They switched quarterbacks. They went with Taysom Hill over Trevor Siemian in this one, which, if you listen to the main channel, which again, that's going to be in the bio or the description of this one. But I've been saying that they should have made this switch a couple weeks ago because Trevor Siemian, he's a decent quarterback for sure, but he doesn't give you any explosiveness, especially with them missing Alvin Kamara, which he did miss this game as well. He's missed the last couple games for them. They were also without both their starting tackles in this one. So it definitely made sense at that point to go to Taysom Hill, but they'd already made that decision earlier in the week before knowing these guys weren't going to play. But I thought they should have done this a couple weeks ago because he at least he's not great with his arm, but obviously he's amazing with his legs as he was in this game. And it just gives you another dynamic towards Siemian. He can't move out of the pocket, and his arm isn't good enough to where you're confident with him just sitting in the pocket and making throws left or right, especially down the field. While at least with Taysom Hill, you can move him out of the pocket. You can do read options. You can do different type of plays, some trick plays, some stuff like that to get him going. He can throw it deep. He's not a great thrower, but when you're so scared of that run, you're going to bring a guy in the box. So you can at least go deep at that point. So that's kind of why I wanted them to go there, especially with their season, the way it's been going. You start off pretty strong, but then your starting quarterback gets injured and you've been losing games since then. So you just need something to change it up. So they finally did it this week. But, the one thing that hurt that was that Taysom Hill pretty early on in the game, on a pass, on his follow through, he hit, I think it was Dorrance Armstrong's arm on his follow through. And I think they did say it was like a sprained finger, or it wasn't broken. It wasn't like a torn ligament or anything, but I think they said sprain, maybe heavy sprain, whatever it was. But they had to put a splint on his throwing hand fingers. I think it was the middle finger. I think it was. So clearly at that point, again, he's already not a great thrower of the football, but now you have that to deal with. And you saw it the rest of the game. I mean, he couldn't throw the ball. And when he did, it was rather short, wasn't as accurate, or it just didn't have as much power on it. Because again, he had the not a great thrower, and then you have a splint on your finger, which I mean, I've never had that and thrown a football with it, but I can only assume, it's very hard, obviously. So, and clearly that was the case when you were watching the game. So that helped the Cowboys for sure because if he was able to pass the ball normally and he never got injured, this game could have been different. Because they would have been able to move the ball even more because through the air they're already running the ball really effectively anyways. So now that you could still have that passing attack, which could somewhat still be there if he didn't hurt his finger, then the game might have been different. Who knows? Because again, we weren't playing great on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, again, we played good and we were helped out for sure. But offensively, we weren't good, and I'll get into that. But so like I said, he hurts his finger. That was pretty early on. But on the third drive of the game, their second drive, they punted on their first drive. Our first drive went 3 and out, just really bad to be honest. Just to go over it quickly, but incomplete to Lamb. Zeke for no yards, 2nd and 10. He had a really bad game. There were the reports of him saying he might play, might not play. I said I wasn't opposed to him not playing because you get the extra couple of days until next week because you play Thursday, and again you would have won 3 games in 12 days, so a lot of wear and tear on the body. You give him make him miss a game this game, so he basically gets like 2 weeks off. I thought that would have been very valuable, especially going into the divisional game, but they didn't want to do it. Whether it was them or him, whatever it was, I don't know, but he played. Definitely didn't play like as much as he like I normally would if he was totally healthy. But again, he wasn't effective anyways. So, I think they probably should have just rested him. I think you're fine with Pollard. And again, he had a big play in this one, but I think you were fine with him just being your number one back anyways. For one game, I don't think it's a problem. But again, they wanted to play Zeke. He played, and he just wasn't effective. So yeah, no gain there. 3rd and 10, incomplete pass. It was not a good start to the game when you do 2 incompletions and a run for no yards. But their second drive, but third drive of the game, they're moving the ball a little bit. They had a 25-yard pass. Again, this was before he got injured, so he can make a couple of those passes. They get it to our 38-yard line where kind of similar to our game last week against the Raiders when we attempted to do a 56-yard field goal when no one was even thinking field goal. As soon as we got stopped, then you were thinking just punt. Because again, it's a 56-yard field goal. It's not automatic, and you're giving the other good field position if you miss. But in this game, the Saints do that. They get to our 38-yard line. It's a 56-yard field goal. I mean, literally the exact same situation. They decided to kick a field goal and they miss. So that was huge, obviously, because like I said, they're not getting points, and you give us really good field position. Now, we couldn't capitalize on that opportunity, even though we did get it down to their 34-yard line. We get to a 4th and 2. Again, totally agree with going for it. Again, it would have been a 52-yard field goal, I think it would have been. So, it's for sure you could have kicked the field goal there. But again, if you miss, you're giving them good field position as well. So, who knows? But I definitely agree with going for it. 4th and 2. If you can't get 2 yards, then, is for an offense like this, despite how they've been playing the last couple of weeks, you got to be able to get 2 yards. The play was there. Lamb was open, and I don't even know if it was like Dak missed him or just it was kind of a busted play, to be honest. Like the play that they originally wanted to run, they ran it, and they were saying like Lamb kind of, instead of just following Dak as Dak was escaping the pocket right, and Lamb was supposed to follow him from the other side of the line of scrimmage, he kind of just cut up field, which on the announcer said like that maybe was intentional. They weren't sure, they didn't know for sure, but it maybe it was intentional. I don't know, but he cut up field to where he was wide open, but there was still a defender in front of him a little bit, and Dak again on the run. Now he has to throw it a little bit to his left, cross side. So he just missed him. Again, CD, he could have caught it. It would have been really tough, but he could have caught it. But again, it was just a missed opportunity there because if he catches that ball, he's probably scoring a touchdown, at least getting inside the 5-yard line. Because there was no one in front of him. Even if he had to turn around, which he did, and maybe stumbled a little bit, he's still getting like 20 yards, 25 yards. And again, we were at their 34-yard line, so it was going to be a big chunk play if it wasn't a touchdown, because if he had stumbled or something. So again, missed opportunity there. If if you convert that, if anything, you're getting 3 points because obviously you're closer. And then who knows, maybe you get a touchdown. So again, 0-0. Again, they missed a field goal. We missed on that. Kind of cancels each other out because again, we could have kicked a field goal. Who knows? We make it. We miss it. Who knows? But yeah, that happened. So again, 0-0. Then they go punt. I believe that this is where Taysom Hill got injured. Yes, it was right here, 3rd and 7. They go deep left, past deep left, and he gets injured on the play. So that's when he hurt his finger. He went in the medical tent. They, looked at him. That's why they put the splint on him. So again, it was at this point, which was 4 minutes left in the first quarter, where he got injured. So he's basically injured the entire game. I mean, that's kind of the way you could look at it. And even towards the end of the game, they could have even put Simeon in because Hill just couldn't throw it. It was an automatic run. So they could have even switched at that point, but he did decide to stick with Hill the rest of the game, which again could have hurt them more than helped them, to be honest. But we get the ball after this. This was a good drive. This was our 3 playmakers making plays on this drive. We get into a 3rd and 7 again. 1-yard rush, 2-yard rush. So not again, the rushing attack just wasn't there. The Saints have a good run defense, but again, our rushing attack the last month plus just has not been anywhere close to where, not even where it was those first couple weeks where we were just averaging 200 yards per game on the ground. Not bad, obviously. That's super high. It's that's not expectation you expect to meet every single week, but 150, just an effective 150, 130, 140, one of those, just you're pounding the ball on the ground. You're getting 4 or 5 yards plus a carry. You're getting big runs once in a while. Just was not happening in this one. It was a guaranteed 1 yard, 2 yard run. Behind the line of scrimmage, even tackle for loss. So again, we'll put ourselves in a 3rd and 7, but we get a huge pass to Amari over the middle. Again, he was playing limited snaps, obviously. Missing 2 games. I don't even think he practiced, so he was playing limited snaps. But obviously, they had him in on key situations. Obviously, this was 3rd and 7. 41-yard pass up the middle. Great pass from Dak. Great catch. Also good run after the catch. Then basically with the next play after that, I mean, a couple of plays later, but basically the next play, it's a screen to CeeDee Lamb. They called it a rush because he caught it behind the line of scrimmage, but obviously it was a passing play. But he just caught it behind the line of scrimmage, or caught it behind where Dak threw it. So that's why it was a rushing attempt. But he makes a man miss, gets almost all the way down to the end zone, gets all the way down to the 1 yard line. 33-yard, I guess, again, rush, but really it was a passing catch. But that was a huge play right there. So again, we get Amari on one, CeeDee on the other. Then immediately after that, 1st and goal from the 1, we do a fade to Michael Gallup. Again, this is what he's perfect at, 50-50 balls. He almost always comes down with them. Great catch, leaped in the air right over the defender, somehow kept his feet in bounds in the right corner of the end zone. Amazing play. That's a perfect drive in terms of just your playmakers making plays. And again, that's what I want them for. I want Gallup for a 50-50 ball, whether it's from 1 yard out or from 40 yards out. I want him 50-50 on the sideline. That's where he's perfect at. I want CeeDee Lamb catching the ball. You just get him the ball and make him make a play, which is exactly what he did. He made a man miss and then ran up the sideline, got down to the 1 yard line. That's what he's perfect for. And then Amari, on a 3rd down in a big situation where you needed a catch and you needed someone to make a play, you go to Amari Cooper, who is your best wide receiver, and you have him make a play, which is exactly what happened. So that's the perfect drive that needs to happen for them. If those 3 guys can make plays like that consistently throughout a game, you're going to win the game. And as long as your rushing attack can be better than what it's been, there's no reason this offense shouldn't return to what it was those first 7 weeks of the season when they were clear and above everyone else as offense, scoring yards, making plays with your offense. So hopefully we get back to that. But again, that was a really good drive right there. But the Saints answered, 7 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. They get a big 27-yard pass up the middle. Again, so he has the injury, but this guy was just wide open up the middle. It was a pretty easy pass. The only way you miss it is because of the injured finger. But again, he was wide open. Then now they're just kind of getting yards. Hill scrambles for 9 yards. Again, that's what he's going to do. Short pass for 9 yards. Again, they were trying to go short with him because of the finger. A 9-yard rush. They were definitely beating us with the rushing attack. If I could just pull up the exact numbers for what they ended up on the day, Hill just individually was 11 for 101, but they were 26 rushes for 153 yards, which is an average of 6 yards. So yeah, they were running the ball pretty effectively against us. And again, when Hill's running the ball, you're the quarterback. It's definitely tough to guard for sure because again, he always has the threat to pass it when obviously when you're handing off to a running back. I mean, the threat of him passing is maybe 1 in 100, maybe even more than that. So probably 1 in 1,000. So it's it's definitely tougher to stop a quarterback from running. But again, there were a lot of times where you just knew he was going to run the ball. Whether there was again, you just knew he was going to run the ball because you couldn't throw it, and they were so effective at running the ball. But still, the defense still played well despite that. But yeah, so they're just getting yards, and then they get a 24-yard touchdown pass again. He made a throw. Maybe the finger wasn't bothering him as much. I think he did get hit again on the finger, so maybe that's really what caused it. So maybe at this point still, it wasn't as bad because it only had been hit once. So maybe it was just like jammed. Maybe it was still sprained, but it just wasn't as bad. You weren't feeling it. But when he got hit the second time, is when it really impacted him. So he was still able to make throws at this point. But yeah, they tied up 7-7. But we come down 7 plays, 40 yards, 4-minute drive, get a field goal here, 21-yard pass to CeeDee Lamb. Again, 2-yard rush, 10-yard pass, 1-yard rush though. Get an offensive holding. Again, another killer penalty. Go from 2nd and 9 to 2nd and 19. Now, you get a 10-yard pass. So instead of it being a first down, now you're 3rd and 9. And you get a 5-yard pass where, again, 4th and 4 at their 36, basically, that was basically the exact same situation as it was before when we went for it on 4th down, didn't get it. But this time we elect to keep the field goal. It's 55 yards. So again, some risk there if you miss it. But we actually make it, big field goal there, to get points, not to give them a good field position as well. But next 2 drives, they punt, they go 3 and out, we go 3 and out, nothing really happened. But then their last drive before the half, we get the ball start of the second half. So this was a big drive because again, 10-7, they were getting yards. Who knows? Maybe they get a touchdown. Then you go down into half 14-10. Even though you get ball, you're down 14-10. That doesn't look great, especially when they're not really doing anything offensively. So they get a 1-yard pass, 9-yard pass on 3rd down. That was a big 3rd down conversion right there. Incompletion, 30 yards, 30-yard pass. That was, I don't know if it was a tight end screen or it's just like a tight end in the flat. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a short pass again. They just made a run after catch on that one. It was a screen. It was a -5-yard pass that went, it was a 35-yard yards after catch. So yeah, it was a screen. But then they're 2nd and 10 at our 26-yard line now. So again, they're basically guaranteed a field goal and obviously looking for touchdown. They go to Kenny Stills on the left sideline, kind of like inside the 5-yard line, to be honest. And Micah Parsons is guarding him. Again, he was linebacker in this one because you get Demarcus Lawrence back. You don't need him playing defensive end. He could still be hybrid, but he was definitely more linebacker in this one for sure. And he was in coverage on him. Made a great play. And again, somehow he's able to turn his head and make a play on the ball. But our corners and our safeties, who are literally, that's the only job they have to do, still can't do that. But Micah Parsons can. So if he doesn't do that, it's probably a penalty, or he just catches the ball, to be honest. But because he turns his head, he jumps, at least somewhat distracts Kenny Stills on that. Whether it was just him just jumping up and lost the ball, just like another guy being there, whatever it was. Causes the ball to tip up. Jaron Kearse makes a great play, comes in just diving in, slides in, catches the ball, keeps his feet in bounds, pick, huge turnover right there because again, they're probably getting 3 points, maybe even 7. So you stop that right before the half. And you still have time now to go down and score. There's 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 20 seconds left when that happens. We put together a 12-play, 80-yard drive. So again, really impressive right there. Get a 17-yard pass to Michael Gallup. That was right before the 2-minute warning. I think that was right on the sideline. It was a great catch by Gallup. Again, that's just like I said, he's great on the sideline. He's one of the best people at catching balls on the sideline and keeping his feet in bounds. Him and Amari, honestly. But then 1-yard pass, 4-yard pass. Now we're 3rd and 5 at our 31. But CeeDee Lamb for 20 yards. You know, penalty on them, defensive holding, uh, incomplete pass, no gain on a pass. Remember, 3rd and 10 at 3rd 44. Again, not looking great, but we get a pass interference on them. You know, it was definitely a ticky-tacky call, I would say. Definitely could have went either way. You could have just called no call, but luckily it was a call. It was against them because it was an incomplete pass. So let's say they didn't call anything, it would have just been 4th down. So that was huge right there, obviously, because 3rd and 10, that puts us in at their 31-yard line now. 12-yard pass to Schultz. So now we're at their 19-yard line with 26 seconds left, and we still have 2 timeouts. So I'm honestly thinking touchdown at this point. We get a 2-yard pass. We go out of bounds, so keep the timeout. Don't waste too much time off the clock. 10-yard pass to Schultz, go out of bounds. So still the 2 timeouts. Then we get incompletion to Lamb, but we get a holding on Tyron Smith. So that obviously just was not helpful right there. You got to waste a timeout. You obviously move back 10 yards. So instead of being 7 yards away, now you're 17 yards away. And then we try to get something going, and then we just do a 1-yard pass to Zeke, which it was just like a bailout option at that point. And we had to kick a field goal. So that was unfortunate. You're looking touchdown right there. But again, another holding call, another penalty call that just moves you back and just cancels out an opportunity that you had at a touchdown. So a missed opportunity there, but you still get 3 points. You're still up 6 points now. But again, it could have been a lot more, especially at that time, especially when you also get the ball back at the start of the second half. If you get a touchdown there, then if you just get a field goal at the start of the second half, it's obviously just super worth it. You're getting 10 points in 2 possessions. But we actually get the ball at the half, go 3 and out. It's not a great start right there. And they come down 11 plays, 55 yards to get a field goal. Good to stop them from not getting a touchdown. So at least that was a positive right there. But they still get a field goal, so 13-10. Again, the game is still – it feels like we should be winning this game by more, but it's still a close game. And then, again, we get the ball, we go 3 and out. So it's 2 straight 3 and outs. Just, even though the offense hadn't looked great in the first half, you're at least moving the ball down the field. You're getting a 12-play drive. You're getting a 7-play drive. You're getting a 6-play drive for a touchdown, even though you turn the ball over and down. It's a 6-play drive. So you're at least getting drives and plays, killing time off the clock, moving the ball down the field, giving yourself opportunities to score. So first 2 drives of the second half did not look great because of that. But even despite that, our second 3 and out, we do force them to go 3 and out. So again, that was obviously huge because if they get a field goal, they even move the ball down the field, whatever it is that they would have done. It would have been killer because the offense would have had to pick it up immediately in what could have been a tie game or even a deficit. We did get lucky on this drive though when they went 3 and out. They get called for a blindside block. It wasn't a blindside block. I guess the rule of a blindside block is that you can't block someone facing your end zone. Like if you're facing your end zone, you can't block someone, but that's usually called on special teams or on like a running play. If like a wide receiver, if you bounce it outside, a wide receiver is just blocking his guy or whatever. It's usually like that. It's usually not called on a blitz pickup, which is what it was. It was a blitz pickup where the guy came from the right side of the formation to the left side of the formation to pick up the blitz. If he doesn't do that, it's a sack, maybe even a fumble, but for sure a sack. And they called blindside block, which was a crazy call. It definitely helped us out because they actually got an 11-yard catch on that, so they would have got a first down. Instead, it's 1st and 21 now. But again, that was a ridiculous call because that I don't understand how on a blitz pickup it could be a blindside block because what are you supposed to do? It's the only way to stop the guy is that, and even still, it wasn't even totally a blindside block, but whatever. It helped us. It helped us out on that, so I'll take it. But that was definitely not a good call right there. But they have to punt, and then we come down and get a touchdown. This was a lucky touchdown because incomplete pass, 13-yard pass to Lamb up the middle, incomplete to Gallup. We're 2nd and 10 at our 42-yard line. The run game is going nowhere, and we decided on 2nd and 10 to do a toss outside to the left. The Saints honestly played it pretty well. Like they were in the backfield, and if that's Zeke on that play, there's just no way we even get positive yards. Maybe he fights back to the line of scrimmage, but it's not like what happened, which turned out to be a touchdown. Pollard, makes a guy miss, kind of like stiff arming him, just moving out of the way. Then just, again, it's an outside toss instead of, the lane to the outside to the sideline's not there. So he cuts it up middle. He must have got a huge block from someone. I can't exactly remember it, but he clearly got a huge block from someone because there was a lane. Stiff armed another guy on the exit. Now he's on the sideline because he's away from that traffic that was there, and by cutting up the field to the middle. And now he's clear of that traffic. He bounces it back out to the outside on the sideline. And then this is where you see the speed from him. Him hitting the hole was the quickness that he has, and now you see the speed, the downfield speed that he has once he's in the open field. Their safety. Now it's a terrible play by their safety. He had an angle at some point and decided just to never attack it. I think he thought Pollard was going to cut inside if he took the angle, so he was just banking on Pollard cutting inside. But again, if you're a safety, you just got to go make the play. You got to go for the ball. That's your first, job. So that was just a really bad safety play from him. He just kept thinking he was going to cut inside. Pollard just, realizing that the safety is not attacking him, just kept running down the sideline. By the time the safety got to him, it was just too late. He was inside the 5-yard line, and then he, basically pushed him into the end zone. So 58-yard touchdown right there, 58-yard rush. Again, that's a 58-yard rush. We ran for a 146 in the game, which looks good, but one of those rushes was on the 58-yard touchdown right there, and the other was, even though it was a pass, it was counted as a rush for CeeDee Lamb on that 33-yard gain. So 2 rushes for 91 yards out of our 24 rushes for 146 yards total. That means that if you take away those 2 runs, we ran the ball 22 times for 55 yards. So that's not impressive at all. So, obviously you need the big plays like that. Every team needs them, but, the numbers will look better than what actually happened in the game. So that's not, you just don't want to see that. It's got to get better. Again, you're going against a good run defense and Zeke's banged up or whatever, but the offensive line's got to be better. They have to win at the line of scrimmage. And our running backs have to hit holes. If Pollard doesn't hit that hole like that, then that play doesn't happen. So if he's just a little bit slower, if he doesn't hit the hole as hard, he's probably getting tackled he may get a couple yards, but he's not getting 58 yards on a touchdown. He's not getting a first down. He's getting maybe 3 or 4 yards. So, you got to hit a hole like that. And that was just a huge play. Again, if that's Zeke, it's just not a touchdown. And who knows? We may have to punt. We may get in field goal range. We may have to go for it on 4th down. So just a huge touchdown. Now it's instead of 13-10, it's 20-10. Go up 2 possessions as well. They get the ball back, put together a little bit of a drive, but can't get anything going for it. Again, this is when Taysom Hill is just scrambling the entire time. He's just getting yards, 6 yards, 4 yards, 8 yards. He's just getting yards. But on a 3rd and 2 at our 26-yard line. So again, huge play in the game right here. They convert. They're looking for touchdown, and then what do you know? It's back to a 3-point game. 3rd and 2. I don't know why they didn't call a run play with Hill or just a running play, but obviously you probably have Hill, at least a read option or something. They decide to go like a fake run, but you're kind of, you're leaking out right. It's like one of those plays where you're just rolling out right and everyone's going from the left side to the right side, and you just have multiple options of where to go to. And the person they let loose was Micah, which obviously that's a mistake on their part. I think they may have faked the run, so they were probably banking on the fact that he was going to sell out run, which he kind of did, but he's obviously so fast and so quick that he could look one way and just go the other way as fast as possible and be there as if he hadn't even gone the other way at first. So he stepped towards the running back, but then as soon as he saw Hill with the ball, he just sprinted right after him, sacks him for an 11-yard loss. So not only does they not convert 3rd down, but now they get pushed outside field goal territory to where it would have been like a 55-yard field goal. So and obviously you can't risk attempting that and then you miss, and then it gives us good field position. So huge sack right there. Again, that's his 10th sack of the season. He had a great game as well. The pass coverage early that led to the pick, and then that sack on a huge play right there. Again, just such an impactful player. So again, huge play, stop them. They had to punt, get the ball back. We actually put together a decent drive, 7 plays, 52 yards, take 4 minutes off the clock as well. Get a big run from Zeke, 10 yards, his biggest run of the day. But We get down to their 44-yard line, 3rd and 4, can't convert. We had to punt. Obviously, it's a smart decision to punt right there. So can't get points, but we take time off the clock. We at least flip field possession as well. But they have to then they get ball back. They go 3 and out. They have to punt. So again, there's 9 minutes left in the game. We're up 10 points. I'm thinking this game's over. We go 3-yard run, but then we go incomplete pass, and then we go pass again, which I would have just ran the ball. There's 8 minutes left. Run the ball, and you're probably not going to get it 3rd and 7, but you waste time off the clock. You're punting. We're already at our own 35-yard line, so you're going to pin them somewhat, inside their own 20 to a quarterback who can't throw the ball, can only run the ball. So that makes a lot of sense in my mind. They decide to throw it. Now, I will say on this throw, Dak, it should have been a penalty because the guy's hand, when Dak was throwing the ball, the defensive lineman went to try and, hit the ball down or whatever, hit his arm, do whatever he could to stop the ball from being thrown. And he smacks him right in the face. I mean, clear as day, just hits him right in the face. And Dak throws a pick. Now, was that the reason he threw the pick? I would like to say yes, but even if he didn't get hit, he was throwing it to he's throwing it to CD Lamb, and he was covered, and there was a guy underneath, and there was a guy over the top. So he was throwing it into triple coverage anyways. So it would have been picked anyways. Maybe, if he didn't get hit, he would have had more power on the ball. So maybe it would have just, gotten deflected because it would have actually reached Lamb instead of being a little bit short. But even still, it just wasn't a good decision. Again, you should have ran the ball. And if you're going to throw it, you're throwing it, 20 yards down, 15, 20 yards downfield to a guy who is basically triple covered. It just was not a good decision anyways. The likelihood of that pass being completed just is very small. So you're stopping the clock, or you're giving them time to at least make some. Again, it's only 10-point game. They come down and get a touchdown, even a field goal. It's a 1-possession game. So again, it should have been a penalty. But even still, it's just not a good decision, whether, that's Dak's decision to do that, or that's just a play call. They wanted to try that for the play call. I don't know. But, both Kellen Moore and Dak did not have good games. Even though Dak's stats may look decent, he didn't have a good game at all. Kellen Moore did not have a good game with his play calling, decision making down the stretch. It's the 4th quarter and we're throwing the ball the entire time. It just didn't make sense. So we give the ball back to them, but we get lucky. Immediately after that, we get the ball back. Again, this was the drive where it looked like Lawrence had his strip sack, but they call it incomplete. But then just 2 plays later, they go to we hit him again when he's throwing the ball. I think Jordan Lewis was the one who hit him from a safety blitz. He hits his arm a little bit, or at least makes him where he can't follow through all the way. I don't know if he actually hit him, but he obviously distracted him, interfered with his throw. To the point where, he missed his guy by however many yards because he left it so short. And, Demonte Casey picks it off. So that's our 2nd interception of the game. There's going to be 2 more to come. But yeah, that's, again, there's 6 minutes left, 6.5 minutes left at this point. We get a pick, the game should be over. I mean, just run the ball, be effective with your runs. Your offensive linemen you're running the ball. Just, get in your run blocking situations and formations, and do anything you can to get at least 1 or 2 first downs, and this game's just over. So it just, we get the ball back after that interception, and we go 5-yard run. So decent run on first down. You put yourself in 2nd and 5, and we go pass, and we go incompletion. So we don't get any yards, and we're stopping the clock. And then we go pass again on 3rd and 5, and it's not even close. I don't even know what this was. Or was it this one or the next one? I think it was, it was this one where I don't even know where Dak was throwing the ball. He threw it to absolutely nobody. So I don't know what was going on. You get a 5-yard run on first down where we can't run the ball at all, and we get a 5-yard run when basically they know that we're going to run the ball at that point. I don't know why you wouldn't run it, at least on 2nd down. If you want to throw it on 3rd down, that's fine, but you at least got to run it on 2nd down, because who knows? Maybe you get a first down on 2nd down, or you at least get it to 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. So many options. You could run it, or you could pass it. So that was just really bad play calling. Again, a minute off the clock taken right there. When you get an interception with 6 minutes left in the game when you're up 2 possessions, just terrible. And then we get lucky again. They actually get a 13-yard play or 13-yard pass. So they get all the way up to the 37-yard line after the punt. But they get picked again. Trayvon Diggs gets his 10th of the season, or his 9th of the season, I should say. Again, this was Hill's finger, obviously. He scrambled, he's escaping out right, has a guy. Now, should he have thrown it? Probably not, because it would have been a tough catch anyways. It would have been a really tough throw. But decides to throw it, and then this is just clearly the finger. He missed again. He was short by like 5-7 yards. Diggs is right there for the interception. Right on the sideline. Again, he gets his 9th one, basically like 3 weeks without getting one. I think the last one he got was the Falcons game. So been like 3 weeks without getting one. Gets one here. Again, the game should be over. There's 5 minutes left in the game. Just run the ball and the game's over. Right after that, we got a 3-yard rush. They used a timeout. We had a 3-yard rush. They used another timeout. So 3rd and 4. We throw the ball, which lucky that we completed the ball. So at least time was taken off the clock. Try to do a screen set up for Lamb and gets 8 yards, actually gets 4th and 1, almost gets it. But obviously you're going to punt in that situation. You're not going to, risk going for it at the 50-yard line. So punt it, pin them deep. Get them to their own 13-yard line. So at least, it was only a minute off the clock because obviously they took 2 timeouts. But at least we ran the ball, at least did something like normal. This, other than those last 2 drives where we're throwing the ball more than we're running the ball. So again, there's 3.5 minutes left. They need a touchdown and a field goal just to tie it with the quarterback who can't throw the ball. And this game's again looking over, but who knows? Maybe they make a play. But again, we get our 4th interception of the game. Carlos Watkins, our defensive lineman. Really good play from him, to be honest. I don't know if Taysom Hill saw him. I don't think he did, but he might have. I don't think he did, to be honest. But gets a pick 6 as well. So now this game's obviously over. And this is where they get that touchdown. They just do a slant, and somehow he breaks a 70-yard touchdown, which I don't even know how. But it's a good thing that we got that pick 6 because who knows what would it could have been 20-17 if that just happened 2 plays earlier. So it's a good thing we got the pick 6. Before that happened, they try an onside kick. Obviously, we get it. We end the game. Dan Quinn gets a win as a head coach. Obviously, with him filling in for McCarthy who had COVID. Defense played really good again. 4 interceptions, 2 sacks as well. Again, the huge one from Micah on the 3rd down. That it was a key point in the game. Again, offense didn't look amazing. Run game still isn't there. It needs to be better against Washington next week. But the passing attack, again, that one drive looked really good with the Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. Need to see that more consistently. Again, next week, again, you have a couple of extra days of rest because you play Thursday. You don't have to play till next Sunday. Cooper should be fully there because he's going to practice obviously all week. So he should play every single snap or, his normal load of what he would normally do. Lamb's going to be fully there. Gallup's going to be fully there. Lawrence should be, I don't know if he's going to be fully back, but I think he'll be at least, 80% snaps, whatever the snap percentage is going to be. He's going to play most of the snaps. Randy Gregory should be back for this next game. Neville Gallimore should be back for this game as well, but I think Gregory is definitely more of a certainty than Gallimore. But even just one of those guys back, definitely Gregory because he's an edge rusher, but getting both those guys back is just huge. I mean, that's going to be, we haven't played with our starting defensive line the entire season. So Gallimore got injured in training camp. Gregory got, he had a COVID thing and then he got injured. So, and then Lawrence obviously getting injured week 1. So we haven't played with our full defensive line this entire season. So to get them back versus Washington, it's going to be huge. They're big in the running game. So that's going to be a key factor for us is stopping the run in that one. So as long as we could do that, I'm confident, even though Washington's won 4 in a row, they've been hot. I'm not scared of them, obviously. Even if we lose this game, we're still in first place. Now, it's not good because, you play Washington again. You play them twice in 3 weeks. So, obviously, you don't want to lose them in this first game because that puts all the pressure on us winning that second game. But, the teams that Washington's beat in this 4-game stretch has been they beat the Bucks. That was obviously a huge win. They beat the Panthers. That was a closer game than, the Panthers are not a good team. They barely squeaked by them. Barely beat Seattle, which, even though Seattle just beat the Niners, they still haven't looked good. And at that time, they were for sure not looking good. I mean, they had to punt 7 straight possessions, or 7 straight 3-and-outs or whatever it was. So they barely beat them in that one. And then, again, they barely beat the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are definitely a decent team. They obviously beat us, but they're not as good as they're not that good of a team. They're definitely a decent team. So it's definitely a good victory there. But again, they barely beat them. Identical scores the last 2 weeks, 17-15. So again, even though they've won 4 in a row, I would say only one of those games has been impressive, and that was the Bucks victory, which came, a month ago. So the last 3 weeks, even though they've won, they haven't looked so super impressive. So I think as long as we could stop the run with Antonio Gibson, we should be fine, to be honest. Like I just, as long as the offense, which it should get back to being normal, maybe this extra rest can help Zeke a little bit, but I think Pollard should be way more involved in the rushing attack as well. But again, I think Dak should have a good game. Hopefully he does. He hasn't looked, again, the last couple weeks, he hasn't looked great as well. Just like him throwing the ball, he hasn't looked great. He's been missing guys as well. So as long as that gets back on track, I think we're fine. If we win this game, we're 9-4. They're 6-7. We played the Giants the week in between. That should be a win in my opinion. Then you're 10-4. Then you play Washington again, who plays Philadelphia in the week between. So, as long as you just win this game, it's the division's over. I just, you'd have to lose out, basically to not win this division. So I'm not worried about the division, but again, win this game, put all that to rest, and then you could worry about where your seeding is in the NFC, where you do not want to be the 4 seed right now because you have to play the Rams, who are the best team out of those wildcard teams. So you at least got to be 2 or 3, in my opinion, which is going to be tough because, Tampa has 9 wins, Green Bay has 9 wins, and Arizona has 10 wins. You play Arizona in a couple of weeks, so that could be a big game because maybe they fall off, or maybe it's just a big win to have at that point in the season. Even if they're already the number 1 seed, that could get you the 2 seed or 3 seed right there. You already lost to Tampa, so you don't have that tiebreaker. So yeah, we try to win games. That's all. Our remaining schedule is Washington, Giants, Washington, Cardinals, Eagles. Out of those 5 games, I believe we should go 4-1, to be honest. I think the Cardinals game is obviously the toughest, but again, at that point, who knows? Maybe they have the 1 seed locked up. I'd be surprised, but maybe. And maybe Murray's injured or whatever. Maybe that's an easier game than I'm thinking. Maybe you'll lose one division game, but I could see us going 3-2 because again, maybe we have our seeding locked up, and then that Eagles game doesn't even matter at the end of the season. So if we do go 3-2, and the one of those games we lose is that Eagles game where it doesn't even matter, I don't even count that as really losing a game because you're not even trying. So yeah, technically 3-1, I guess, if we're not counting that game, but you should go 4-1 realistically. So yeah, a lot of confidence going into this Washington game with, again, basically our full team of guys playing for the first time this season. So assuming that Gallimore and Gregory are back, which again they should be for sure. Gregory, I would say, and Gallimore's maybe a little bit more of a question, but he should play as well. So yeah, we'll look forward to that next week. Yeah, that was week 13 for the Cowboys. Again, game 12, week 13, going to a big division matchup against Washington at Washington as well, 1:00 on Sunday. So we'll talk about that game after that. But that's it for the Cowboys part of this. But I also have another part. It's gonna be right after this. That's actually not even about football. But we're gonna get into that right here.